Hi, welcome back to my channel, Sarah Lilly Makes. My name is Sarah and I am the maker behind the channel. This is my little journaling space here on YouTube where I like to document and share all of the things that I've been making lately. So the things that I've just finished off, the things that I'm currently working on, things that I plan to work on, and any related acquisitions. Today's episode is a planning episode. It is my winter 2023 knit plans episode, and I'm very excited and I'm very eager to share these patterns with you. I have my little notebook with my list, and I have my basket of yarn here ready to go, and yeah, we'll get into it in a second. Some brief admin details, or admin notes, I guess. Everything that I talk about today will be linked below where I purchased my yarn. Any pattern booklets that I talk about, I will link below. The store that I purchased all of my yarn, my patterns, everything will be down below. I'll also try to include the pattern links to Ravelry if it's available. And so all the details will be down below. If you haven't already, please like this video and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. If you are interested in this type of knitting content, this making content, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe. And if you are interested in getting notifications from me as well, please hit the bell, the notify me button. And that would just be really helpful to me if you could do that. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching and following along with what I have to share and what I have to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it for my admin details. Let's get into it. So I have 10 specific patterns today that I would like to talk about. And I want to categorize them into 3 different specific categories. The first category that I have is texture, cables, and color work. The second category of things that I want to knit is staple pieces, so basic staple pieces and neutral garments, but not necessarily all of them will be neutral, if that makes sense. And then the third category is children's knits, because I started knitting for my kids. That's how I got into knitting. I wanted to make things for my kids when I was pregnant. So it's only fitting that I continue and keep making things for my kids. And it's fun. I enjoy knitting for my kids. So those are my 3 categories: texture / cable / color work, basic staple neutral garments, and then kids knits. So I am not necessarily an accessories person. I like to once in a while maybe knit a beanie, knit a scarf, maybe a pair of socks, but my knitting focus is predominantly garments. So that is what you will mostly see on my channel. And the rare occurrence of an accessory showing up is indeed rare, because I don't really get as much joy out of knitting accessories as I do garments for myself and for my kids, family members. So yeah, I just wanted to preface this by saying that this is all going to be garments for this episode. So I have 5 garments in the first category of texture / cable / color work. The first garment is the Twist Loop Sweater by Other Loops. And I was really intrigued by this pattern. Earlier this year, she released a tank top version. And I actually have the pattern. I purchased the pattern with the intention of making it for myself. I never got around to doing that. And then I saw that she also had, I'm not sure when it came out, but it might have been the past couple of months, a sweater version of the Other Loops tank. But this is called, the Twist Loop. So this is the Twist Loop Sweater. by Other Loops. I will include a picture here of the pattern, and I'll talk briefly about it as well. So the twist loop sweater features a all over rib texture, and it is a raglan top down knit, and there is a gorgeous panel, cable panel along the center front of the design, and it is knitted with lace and fingering. So fingering plus 2 lace held together, and it is knit on US 7s and US 6. So the majority of the sweater will be knit with 4.5 millimeter needles, and then the ribbing and the neck will be knit with the 4 millimeter needles. My yarn choice for this is going to be Explore Knits and Fibers Spindrift on Rockies DK and Suri lace alpaca. Oh yeah, Suri alpaca lace, my bad. And the colorway for both of these is Spindrift. This was a summer acquisition from when she had released a pre-order. I'm pretty sure it was a pre-order for this. I can't remember, but I'm gonna hold these together, and I am pretty sure I have enough yarn. I have enough yarn of the DK, and I hope I have enough with the Suri alpaca lace. But so this is a Explore Knits and Fibers. If you're not familiar with it, DK, it's a lighter DK. Explore Knits and Fibers Rockies DK is a little bit lighter DK than most other DK weight yarns that I've worked with. But I'm excited to use this. I feel like this will be a great winter color, and with an all-over texture, with a cable down the front, I have to knit this. This is going to be definitely not going to be put aside on the back burner. This is going to get done because I just love this colorway. I've been eager to knit this sweater, and I wasn't sure what yarn to use, but I did purchase a sweater's quantity of this when I did the pre-order, so it really just jumped out at me, and I'm really excited to knit this up. The twist loop sweater by Other Loops with Explore Knits and Fibers, Rockies DK, and Suri alpaca lace. My second garment that I would like to make is the sweater number 20 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And this is an all-over cable knit. I have been wanting to knit this pattern for the longest time, and I've been kind of intimidated by it. Now I'm experienced with cables. This is the Moby sweater that I made earlier this year. I forgot to mention that. But I have knitted multiple cable knits in my knitting lifetime, and I just feel intimidated by the pattern for some reason. I know it's not going to be more complicated than like the artisan cardigan that I knitted earlier this year as well, but I just feel intimidated by it, and I'm just gonna bite the bullet, and I'm just gonna cast on at some point this winter and knit that design because I really love the pattern. I think it's a gorgeous all over cable texture. It is knitted, let me find that. It is knit on 5.5 millimeter needles and 4.5 millimeter needles. And the yarn recommendation is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool held together with Alva, which is a DK weight or heavier DK weight and a lace weight yarn. And I purchased this pure Gynt and Tynn silk mohair specifically for this pattern in mind. And this is electric blue from Sandnes Garn. And the colorway number is 6046 in both the pure Gynt and the Tynn silk mohair. And I am kind of on a bit of a blue actually, yeah, I kind of am on a bit of a blue kick this winter, and I'm enjoying seeing blues on my feed, and I'm enjoying just everything blue. So I want to make this My Favorite Things Knitwear sweater number 20 with these two yarns combined. And I hope by the time I cast on, I am not as intimidated by the pattern. I follow the hashtag on Instagram, and it's just, I've just been really wanting to get it done, and I've been really wanting to knit it. That is my second plan for winter 2023. My third my third sweater plan is also another cable knit. Now, these are not in any particular order. I have no intention of knitting 1 cable, 2 cable, 3 cables, 4 cable sweaters, one right after the other. That's why I'm going to include a staple, basic, neutral category, and I will probably just intersperse them. But yeah, no intention of knitting these in this particular order. This is just to categorize and keep things a little bit more cohesive, I guess. Okay, so this is the Wilbur Sweater from Sandnes Garn, and it is found in their Tweed magazine. And this pattern booklet came out last year, so the booklet number is 2214, and it was released along the same time as their Tweed yarn. So how Sandnes Garn does sometimes when they release a new yarn, they release a pattern booklet with a multitude of patterns for that specific yarn. And I've had this in my pattern collection for a little bit, and I've been wanting to knit this sweater for a while. So I want to knit one for my husband as well, but we'll get to that. Not this winter. We'll get to that eventually. But it is an all over cable and texture sweater, and this design is so gorgeous. It is so classic. It's a very classic Aran style, fisherman style sweater that I think is just super trendy today. Not that I care to knit what is trendy or whatnot, but I just really have been wanting to knit this pattern, and so I included it on my pattern plans to give me the motivation to knit this pattern. I can't find it now. Okay, Wilbur Sweater. So this is rated 4 out of 5 stars for difficulty from the Sandnes Garn booklet, and I am planning on knitting it with the recommended yarn, the Tweed from Sandnes Garn. And the composition of this yarn is very interesting. It is 80% extra fine wool, 20% cashmere, and there is tweed in it. So it doesn't actually say. But anyway, this is a sport weight yarn, but the needle recommended is 4mm needles for the majority of the knitting. So I have not worked with this yarn before. I have had it for a little while, and I've been very eager to work with it, but it's a gorgeous yarn. It is very soft, and it's very bouncy, and I just probably, it doesn't have a whole lot of stretch though. It does have a tiny amount of stretch, but it feels bouncy and it's plump, and I'm excited to knit with this because I've had it for a little bit and I've been very eager to work on this sweater, so I had to include it because I want to knit this. They have multiple versions of the sweater also in this magazine, but I really want to knit the women's for myself. So they have a child's version, and they have a women's, and they have a man's. So yeah, that is the Wilbur Genser from Sandnes Garn's booklet 2214, and I'm planning on knitting that with the Sandnes Garn Tweed, and the color, did I mention the color, is 5585. So that is my third plan. My fourth plan is the River Cardigan, which is another Sandnes Garn pattern. And this pattern this pattern booklet came out this year. And it is magazine 2302. It is their DIY magazine. I have knitted a number of patterns from this magazine this year. I knitted the Hadley, I knitted the Oxford cardigan, and I knitted the Brook cardigan. So this will be my fourth pattern from this book that I will be knitting. I have wanted to knit this since the booklet came out. So I had wanted to knit this at the beginning of the year, and I just never got around to it. So here's hoping that I get it done. So the River Cardigan, let me pull it up, is, like I said, a pattern from Sandnes Garn. It is knitted with Tynn Gynt and Tynn Silk Mohair, and it is an all-over cable cardigan. So, there it is. The size range is 2XL, 2 extra small, so XX small, to 3XL. And I am gonna knit this with the Sandnes Garn Tynn Gynt and some undyed mohair that I had purchased off of Etsy a long time ago, actually. And the Sandnes Garn Tynn Gynt color, I don't think it's it might be marzipan, but the number is 2641, and then I purchased this off of Etsy maybe 2 years ago. I can't even remember. But it's an undyed mohair, and I've already used some of it. I purchased, it was really inexpensive, and I have no idea. The store, I don't even remember if this is the actual store name, but the tag on this says Swoon Fibers. So yeah, 72% mohair, 28% silk. But I am very excited. It's neutral, it's beige, but it's cable, so I included it in this category. So let me talk about the pattern a little bit. So the pattern is a cable pattern where you work starting at the back, then you pick up stitches for the shoulders, then you knit down, you join, you use German short rows, and then you continue working back and forth with the cable pattern, end with ribbing, and then work the sleeves. I think it's just a single cable repeat. Let me see. Yep, it's a single cable repeat throughout the whole thing. So it should be pretty easy to memorize and pretty not as complicated as, say, the Wilbur Sweater. So I really want to get that done. I feel like I am missing a cable cardigan, and that's a staple for sure. But yeah, I really need to get that one also. And my fifth pattern for this category is the Fleur De Lis pattern. And this is another pattern from Sandnes Garn. It is one of their more recent releases. So this is the Tema 77. And this was released for Christmas, and it has that ever popular slippers that everyone has been making. I know it's a free pattern as well, but it's also in this book. And they have a lot of accessories and ornaments and scrunchies and candles and just a lot of fun patterns in this book. But they also have a Fleur De Lis pattern for children and one for adults. And I'm planning on making the adult size version for myself. And it is going to be knitted with Sandnes Garn Double Sunday in the colorway white and navy, or night sky maybe, or sailor in the dark. I think it's sailor in the dark. So this is the 1012 color number and 5581. So it looks, I don't know if it looks black on camera, but it's a very dark navy blue. And I love Double Sunday. I knit with Double Sunday a lot. It's one of my favorite non-superwash merino yarns to knit with, and I just love it. I can't not knit a garment for winter and not include Double Sunday because it's my favorite yarn to knit with. All right, that's it for category number 1. And then my second category is staple basic. Neutrals, just basic, easy to wear, hopefully easy to knit, easy to throw on, easy to go out the door with, just basic sweaters. And the first one that I want to make is another Other Loops sweater, and it is the Lane Loop sweater, and I'm going to pull it up really fast. And this is a basic sweater. It is knitted with fingering and lace on US 6 4mm needles. So I'm not going to be holding 2 lace weight yarns for this because I know my gauge for fingering and lace with 4mm needles is the gauge that is given in the pattern. But before I get to that, I am going to be knitting it with Sisley's Tiramisu sock and Mohair. So I'll include a picture of the pattern, of course, but it is a top-down sweater, raglan sweater, and there are panels of rib stitch along the sleeves, and I believe there is one along the inside too of the seam. Yes. So the raglan, there's a rib stitch. It's a rib stitch raglan. It goes along the sleeve, the entirety of the sleeve, and then along here, the raglan stitch, and then it goes into the body, the inside part of the body. And then it goes straight into the rib and you bind off, and it's just a gorgeous design. I have knitted something similar from Coco More Knitwear this past summer, and I really enjoyed that pattern. It was also like a 3x1 broken rib. Actually, that was a broken rib, not a complete raglan. But anyway, I mean, not a complete ribbed pattern. This is, so a raglan, panels of rib stitch on the sleeve. The body is worked in the round with decreases and increases along the rib stitch panels, allowing the panels to move forward on the front. And then features short rows, which is great. So I wanted to knit this pattern. I've seen a couple of samples on the Sisley's Instagram feed where she uses her yarn for that design, and I am very interested in making one for myself. So that is my lane loop plan for winter with the Sisley Tiramisu on sock and Mohair. But this is mostly neutral with a lot of darker brown speckles, and it's gorgeous. So I hope I could get that one done too. My 7th plan is we go back to Sandnes Garn because why not? And this is the new Sandnes Garn pattern that just came out. It's the Booklet 2313 with their new poppy yarn. And I was very much intrigued with this yarn. It's a speckled yarn, somewhat speckled yarn, but the yarn itself is poppy. The name of the yarn is poppy. I'm going to be making my version with one of the sample colors. And this is color 1010. And it's like a tutti frutti color, I think it's called. So let me give you a bit of the specs of this yarn. It is 50% superfine alpaca, 35% cotton, and 15% merino wool. 50 grams is 110 meters. So if you've knitted with Sandnes Garn costs, this is very similar, except the cost is more meterage per 50 grams. I believe the cost is 150 meters per 50 grams. And they're both blown yarns. And I really like costs a lot, so I naturally assumed that I would like this yarn as well. So the Hadley Sweater, this is probably the 3rd iteration of Sandnes Garn's Hadley Sweater. And it would be my 3rd version of the Hadley Sweater as well. The first Hadley Sweater was in the Booklet 2302. The next Hadley Sweater is the Romy Sweater, but it's a different title, but it's essentially the same pattern, in my opinion. And I've knitted both, so they're essentially the same pattern with some minor variations. And then this one, I haven't checked the actual specs of the pattern, so I'm not sure that it's identical, but the name is the same, so I am assuming it's the same. So it is knitted on 5mm and 6mm needles, and it is a drop shoulder pattern with 2x2 rib and split hem at the sides. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward, and I am very excited because I know it will be a somewhat quick knit, and after probably knitting a bunch of cables, I would want to knit a very quick knit. And my last sweater for myself is the Cumulus Blouse, which is a Petiteknit pattern. I knitted the Cumulus Blouse O-neck over the summer, and I wore that sweater so much. I wear it at least once a week because it is such a versatile piece. I could wear it with so much. So I really wanted to knit another version, but I wanted to do the V-neck version for myself again. And I am planning on using the Suri lace, which is this color, and it is called Last Chapter. And this is from their fall tonal collection. So my last Cumulus Blouse, I also used this yarn, the Suri Alpaca lace. This is 74% baby Suri Alpaca and 26% silk, and a 50-gram hank is 328 yards. So this is not exactly the recommended yarn, but I made my last version with the same yarn content, the same yarn, and I was very pleased with my project, so I thought I could make another one for myself with this as well. So that is it for my knits. And then I will get into the kids' knits now. And I have just 2 patterns. I want to make one for my younger son, who is turning 12 on January 1st. So I want to knit this as a birthday sweater for him. And then I want to make a cardigan for my toddler because she has outgrown all of her cardigans, and I haven't gotten around to the one that I was supposed to make for her for fall yet. So the first one I want to make, I'll go back to this magazine. This is Sandnes Garn's Poppy magazine 2313, and they have 2 children's patterns in this magazine, or is it 1? Let me double check. Nope, it's 1. The Phillipe cozy sweater, and I am planning on using the poppy yarn again. So this is the blue color. They have like 4 different versions of this yarn. I got the rainbow tutti frutti tweed color for myself, and I got this version for my son to make him a birthday sweater. This sweater is a raglan sweater utilizing German short rows, and the yarn color is Cloud in the Sky, and it's number 1050, and it is knitted with 6mm needles. So today is December 19th and his birthday is January 1st, so I think I have enough time to knit that. I'm gonna knit that out of my plans first and get that done, and that's his birthday sweater. And my last sweater that I want to make, or cardigan rather, is the Debutante cardigan, Sandnes Garn, from their children's magazine 2309, which is also released this year. And the Debutante cardigan is the pattern pictured on the front, and I will be knitting it with the yarn pictured on the front, the tweed. And this is colorway 2585. I don't know what the name of the color is, but the number is 2585. So it is a top-down raglan construction knit on 3.5mm needles. So this yarn is sport weight, like I mentioned before. So 3.5mm needles on sport weight with sport weight yarn should be fine. I'm gonna knit her the size 6 because she is wearing a size 5 to 6 now in most of her knit garments, and the only sizes they have are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and I'll just go ahead and knit her the size 6 because I'd rather her have room to grow than it be too small, because that has happened before where I knitted the size and she just outgrew it very quickly. So yeah, that is my winter 2023 knit plans. I know it's a little bit ambitious with all of those cables, but I'm hoping that the basic sweaters that I also have will kind of help me stay motivated to keep going to knit another cable sweater. But I enjoy breaking up the monotony of just a straight stockinette sweater with a cable sweater, and it's fun. And yeah, I don't know that I will get all of this done. I probably won't, because I'm still working through my fall plans. Believe it or not, I'm still working through that like 14 list that I had. It was like 14 things, and I made 8 out of that, which is still pretty good. I'm still proud of that. I'm still proud of making 8 out of my 14. Well, it was like 13 garments and then a beanie that I wanted to make a couple of. Anyway, I'm still pretty proud of that, and I might end up actually getting around, hopefully I get around to recording reflections on my fall knits, but this is my plans for winter 2023. It's a little overly ambitious, a little bit, I was a little bit overeager. I am always overeager when I'm making my plans, but I feel like I narrowed it down to a sizable amount that might be more manageable for me than 14. And a couple of these are on larger needles, so they should be, you know, go at a decent rate for my knitting time, I guess. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you enjoy my content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are working on anything special for the winter, I would love to know what it is that you're planning on working on as well. I wish you a happy and warm and healthy holiday season, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Happy knitting.